At this hour, a manhunt is underway in Canada for two suspects in a stabbing spree that left 10 people dead and 15 others injured. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police say the attacks were spread out across 13 different locations. They centered around an Indigenous community and a nearby village in Saskatchewan. Right now, police say the motive is not known, but they believe some of the victims were specifically targeted while others were random. Police have named the two suspects. Here they are, 31-year-old Damian Sanderson and 30-year-old Miles Sanderson. They're believed to be traveling in a black Nissan Rogue, but it's possible they may have changed vehicles since. Let's get straight to CNN's Paula Newton. She's live for us in Ottawa, Canada, for the very latest developments. Paula, what are you hearing?
Boris, you know, the news in the last couple of hours from police, again, is that these two suspects, incredibly dangerous, remain at large. And that's quite concerning at this point because the last known sighting, police believe, was in Regina, Saskatchewan. It's about a 3.5-hour drive from these communities, and they believe they were last seen around midday yesterday. I want you to listen now, though, to the police chief from Regina talking about how so many more tips from the public are needed if they're to catch these suspects. Take a listen.
We are confident that someone out there knows the whereabouts of these two and has information that would be valuable to the police. And I urge you to get in touch with your local police service to let us know.
You know, what's disturbing about this, Boris, is despite the fact that law enforcement has basically swarmed to the area and they are getting help from all levels of government, still they have not found these subjects. Now, the communities themselves, as you said, 13 separate crime scenes so far, 10 dead, more than a dozen injured. People wondering now if there are still other victims out there, Boris, that may have sought out medical help in their local communities. They also want them to come forward. Goes without saying that the Prime Minister here, Justin Trudeau, putting out a statement late last night saying, I am shocked and devastated by the horrific attacks today in James Smith Cree Nation and Walden, Saskatchewan, that claimed the lives of 10 people and injured many more. As Canadians, we mourn with everyone affected by the tragic violence and with the people of Saskatchewan. And Boris, I have to tell you already, I've been trying to communicate with some people in the local community. Everyone has declined comment. You can really feel the gravity of these events, the violence of it, and the fact that it may have affected some people from the same families and the same communities. We'll continue to watch this. We are expecting, hopefully, another update from police within the next few hours. Boris?
We know you'll keep watching the story closely for us. Paula Newton from Ottawa, thank you so much. Joining us now to discuss the latest in the case, CNN National Security Analyst Juliette Kayyem. She's a former Assistant Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security. And also with us, CNN Senior Law Enforcement Analyst Charles Ramsey. He's the former Philadelphia Police Commissioner and a former Police Chief of Washington, D.C. Juliette, first to you, no motive yet, but the indications are that some of these victims were targeted while others were random. What do you make of that?
It's a horrific and strange combination of potential motives. We know that the Indigenous nation, the James Smith Cree Nation, went under lockdown. We don't know if that's because there is strong evidence that a certain community was targeted. But then if you just look at the breadth of killings over such a sort of long stretch of geography, one has to assume that there might be just also random violence involved. So it starts as targeted and then becomes a spree. So we just don't know yet. I think the other thing I'm sort of surprised at is that they are still in pursuit. I would have assumed, just given the number of resources, as Paula was saying, that are just sort of headed towards that area. They know who they are. They know who their family is. They have at least some identification of a car. Until they find them, the community is not going to be at ease. And I understand why they're not speaking to the media right now, actually.
And Chief Ramsey, Juliette brings up a good point. The area that police are canvassing is enormous. Talk to us about some of the challenges that brings up.
Well, I mean, it's an enormous area. It's a remote area. At least that's my understanding, which makes it very difficult. You have to assume that they know the landscape. So there probably are a lot of places where they could hide. And again, they're asking for the public's help. There are people who know them that perhaps know areas that they tend to hang out in and so forth. And that's what the police are doing now, is they're actually searching everything. They had a search overnight. They probably were using thermal imaging devices, anything they possibly can use to try to find these individuals who are in hiding right now. But hopefully they can get them before anyone else is injured.
And Chief Ramsey, there's also a challenge in processing 13 different crime scenes. What's that like?
Well, I mean, 13 different crime scenes. Each one requires protection. You have to protect the crime scene. You have to process the scene. That is unusual. The other part of this that's very unusual for us in America is the fact we're talking about mass stabbings here. Usually we're talking about mass shootings. So this is quite different in terms of what's being used to commit these particular crimes. But again, it's a challenge all the way around. At the same time, they're trying to find these folks. There are other officers that are there actually processing scenes. They're also interviewing witnesses, interviewing family, probably executing search warrants. There are a lot of things going on right now.
Julia, the fact that it was a mass stabbing, that's an uncommon crime. What does that tell you about the nature, perhaps, of the motive, if you could speculate on that?
So I think it has more to do with access and in some ways that each country, this is horrible to say, but each country sort of has their mass murder weaponry. And in cases where it's not easy, in countries where it's not very easy to get guns, we've seen stabbings before. We've seen them in Europe and in other areas. So that may be one explanation. The other is, of course, their desire that they actually wanted this kind of killing for whatever reason, and that's where the motive comes into play. Are they people who are experts in guns or knifings or stabbing? Some people who have a sort of obsession with guns and swords. We don't know what kind of knives they are, and this is the challenge. So in sudden crises like a mass shooting that Chuck and I are on, Chief Ramsey and I are on all the time about, you sort of know what your pool of victims is because it's a limited area and it's happened so fast. This is something that was sort of a slow roll killing. And I think what's important, and as Paula was saying, is we actually, it's very likely that there might be others who were victims who go to local areas. They're not identified as part of the pool because because the pool is so big or the geographic area is so big. And this often happens where we may find over the next 24 or 48 hours other instances or attempts. And that may be helpful actually in terms of identifying and or in terms of capturing these guys eventually. But look, until they're captured, this is a really stressful situation for people in the area, and certainly if they got into a car, people who might engage or encounter them.
Yeah, this is obviously a story we're following very closely. So Juliet Kayyem, Charles Ramsey, we hope you don't go too far in case there are updates, and we need your expertise. Thanks so much.